today we're going to pivot back over to the Boros Steelcutter build that's been pretty seriously updated here. This was the first Steelcutter deck we played, and we did pretty well with it, and Steelcutter was immediately pretty impressive. But the problem with this build was that I think we had just too few artifacts to actually support Mox Opal. Also, Portable Hole I think is quite good at the moment, and I think Sentinel is pretty solid too. So we're leaning into these as extra artifacts for Mox Opal, taking elements from the Boros synergy deck, which I think really complement the Steelcutter plan. Like Ocelot Pride can copy your Steelcutter tokens, making a lot of tokens goes really well with both Ajani and Guide of Souls. But I think that's kind of where the overlap in these two archetypes stop. And I will say, like, this deck is, I think, a good bit faster than the normal Boros synergy, which I think is very important at the moment. Well, I love that we can double 1-drop on turn 1. Yeah, you could play Voice of Victory here. I think it's worse than every other 2-drop, though. Like, it's worse than Steelcutter. I think you need Amulet for card advantage and artifact count. I think it's worse than Ajani. It's worse than, like, the second copy of Bombardment. So I don't know how Voice of Victory would fit in, but I do agree that the card is good. So my opponent mulled to 5 and then conceded. Last seen 4 days ago playing Is It Prowess. I think I'll just run it back here. You could play 1 Flage, but I don't think Flage is particularly good in this deck, and I'm not sure what I would play it over even. Voice plus Bombardment is just as much card advantage as Amulet. Well, I mean, one of these is like a 2-card combo, right? And like Voice without Bombardment isn't worth as much, of course. Our hand was really good. So maybe we're just likely to win that one anyways. I wish I could have played that game, though. Also, I don't know, like, in this deck, Amulet's, like, your curve is really low, so you get to cast your cards really aggressively. It's an artifact from Mox Opal. And, like, with Guide of Souls, like, you're pretty often just, like, drawing a card every turn with it. Amped Raptor would have also loved this deck. I think on the draw, I'm going to keep this hand, since Mox Opal is also a live draw. And also, if they are playing Is It Prowess, this is like a fine hand to keep. I do think I'm going to try to save the Portable Hole for a Steelcutter and lead on the Guide of Souls, although maybe leading on Esper Sentinel is just better for the card. Could see that being the case. Would also let Opal actually be online next turn. How do you play a game against Chalice on 1? You win game 1, you win the sideboard games. Maybe we should have some answers to that. I don't know how popular Chalice is. Like, it's not like super duper stock in Eldrazi. Yeah, I think you're right that we should have some answers. All right, let's rip a land. Okay, let's see what my top card is. Another copy of Guide of Souls. Not sure if this is better, but what I like about the Portable Hole is, again, it does let me go Sentinel plus Bauble. What's the reason between playing Emrakul instead of a more castable Shovel type like Kozilek? Well, you're never casting Kozilek, but that's not going to happen. But you play Emrakul instead because it has a higher mana value for Tasha's. I guess I'm just playing another Guide of Souls, obviously. Not drawing a land or a Bauble is not a good strategy. Okay, dead to this. Going to game 3. Alright, so Sanctifiers are coming in this time now that we know the matchup. I do think the Bombardments, obviously they can be very good, but they can also kind of do nothing against a really fast draw that's keeping you off your creatures. I think we could trim 1 Amulet, probably over all these other cards. Sentinel is really good against them. I think playing Sentinel turn 1 would have been better than playing the Guide turn 1, so that was probably a mistake. Kind of a mull to 6 with the second Opal, but a pretty good mull to 6. Let's keep. I think I'm going to go ahead and just Surveil here. I feel like we really need to get this Surveil off. I'm going to Graveyard that because of Lava Dart, although Obviously, it's nice with the Ajani. Okay, so now I think I want to fire off this Esper Sentinel. Make a Steelcutter worse. And then if they have Mutagenic Growth here, we get to draw a card. Yeah, you could play Synthesizer in this kind of shell, although I don't really think it makes the cut. So we kind of time walk them with the Sentinel. Let's lead on the Amulet here, probably. Is Authority of the Council a decent sideboard card versus Steelcutter? I would say not really, no. It's not awful. It's just not really good either. Well, I was definitely hoping that they would play a threat this turn. I think against an opponent who... I know like we're kind of missing out on potential guide value, but our opponent's also just holding up Lightning Bolt, so playing the Ajani into the Bolt just seems like a way better strategy. So they put a card on top with their Surveil land, but it's not an iteration because they played their land first. Why do I think they're about to cast a Bedlam Reveler? Like they can't be that. All right, so there's a Steelcutter. Maybe I guess Steelcutter into iteration? Into show off, okay. So my hand's pretty solid against this. Unless they have a Mutagenic Growth. I guess I could still kill this. I think I'm just going to take the hit. I would kind of like them to fire off, yeah, the dart if they have it now. But maybe that, I don't know. Kind of a weird spot. So let's go Portable Hole the Steelcutter. Galvanic this, leaving 2 energy in my pool. Good old turn 5 Mox Opal. Deal 1 to my opponent. Tap the Amulet for another card, which is an Esper Sentinel. Which I think I'm going to go ahead and take the point of damage to play. We get a life back from the Guide of Souls 2, of course. They use the Lava Dart. They've got 3 cards in their hand. They play Unholy Heat. They target the Sentinel, definitely. A lot of... the card's very good against Prowess, not that the most complicated. And they do have another removal spell, so they left with a Monk token. I'm left with not a lot besides the Sunbaked Canyon, although Sanctifier is a really nice pickup. Although, I guess these tokens are white, huh? Huh. Well, I definitely want to get my Guide of Souls triggered, not only for the life, but also for the energy for the Amulet. Don't have another Surveil land, but we'll go ahead and just get a tap Sacred Foundry here. So they bolt my Guide of Souls. They've got a 2/2 Monk token here. They've got no other card in their hand. They get to tap Steam Vents. They're going to attack. I'm going to go down to 7 after I fetch. I think I'm ahead, although it's not super clear. Them drawing another land is obviously insane for me. Prime of the 26th, thank you, welcome back. Very impatient main facing these fetches. They probably just shouldn't be fetching at all. Gonna save these for the Steelcutter, and I'm gonna be getting in here also. Down to 6. So I'm probably not cracking this fetch land. They're probably gonna block and bolt me. Lava Dart doesn't save this. I think that that's okay. I was thinking I'm still getting in here. No blocks. So just trying to kill me. They don't kill me. Very, very tense match. Weird match too. Definitely really enjoying the addition of Sentinel and Portable Hole. Does feel like what this this deck needed. All right, let's lead on the Sentinel here. Sometimes these decks play Thoughtseize, good against the Relic. Deal. So they probably have an Overlord if they're doing this, but they probably should have taken their draw step first. Pitching the Wisp if they have Overlord is also a little bit weird, I guess. Is there an affinity list with Steelcutter? Gab was playing something like that. I'm trying to figure out like a more normal affinity build with Steelcutter. It's pretty tough. There's also like Hammer. I've spent a few hours trying to figure that out, and I can't tell you that I've got a good list for you yet. Obviously, don't mind seeing this Emperor of Bones. Do have to run out the portable hole this turn, though. Mox Opal will be online next turn. Have you rallied the Monastery in the Prowess decks? It's not a card I've got a really good grasp on yet, I guess, but in theory, I like it. I've played it a little bit in Prowess, but I just don't think it makes the cut. Like if they didn't print Steelcutter, then it would have made the cut, but they did print Steelcutter. You know what I mean? Was the mana base not enough to handle Saga? Yeah, I don't think so. Are like our color requirements, like every single card basically costs like 1 energy, you know? I want to play around Felia here, I think. So I guess one way to play it very safe against Felia is to let them block and then Galvanic Discharge so that if they have Ephemerate, my guide is still alive, which is really important with all these amulets and stuff. Obviously, it might seem like I just missed a damage, but this was pretty intentional. Graveyard's a Relic. Not being as weak to Relic in this matchup is also maybe a selling point, although way weaker to Wrath of Skies. So they pick up Felia because that's their only option. If they have an untapped land, they can play it. They don't have the untapped land unless they did they already play their land this turn? Not sure. I think I'd like to get the Bombardment down first. Unfortunately, they do have the Fatal Push. Thankfully, we've got a discharge for their incoming Felia. Steelcutter Affinities and finally Frogmere Enforcer's Time. Yeah, I just don't know that you ever want to be playing those cards again. The Mirror Enforcer variants. Okay, so we're going to let this block happen. I'm going to deal damage. Then I'm going to go Galvanic Discharge on the Felia. And if they have a Ephemerate, then we can sack the Pride. And thankfully they don't have it. Now we get to tap this Amulet. Play a Windswept Heath and save the portable hole. Since Affinity isn't good enough for Affinity anymore, would it be worth unbanning some artifact lands? I'm pretty against unbanning artifact lands, but there are plenty of playable Affinity, or maybe just Thoughtcast, Thought Monitor. But there are some playable cards with the word Affinity on them. The thing is, artifact lands make gameplay way worse. Like, it's your games are way higher variance. They are way swingier. Your artifact opponents stomp you a lot game one, and they crumble to sideboard cards. I think in gameplay, it's just not very interesting with them. I'm just pretty against. Like, I don't like Wrath the Skies on all the artifact lands. I don't think this is a very fun part of modern gameplay. I just think we're better off saying no, thank you. Oh yeah, Emery has Affinity. So I might get to copy some Steelcutter tokens here. Which will be a lot of damage, especially with this Bombardment. We'll see if we can find anything castable here. Nice. So that's 3 damage plus the Prowess, so 4 damage. Orang is redeemed. Name the next Dark Souls character. Well, you could get a refund on that if you want, but because it's going to be a little bit. Although I can make a sticky note. Name the next one Orange, please. Okay, let me put a sticky note for next time. It'll likely be a while though. Okay, so we don't get to copy our Steelcutter tokens here, but we're still in great shape. So me just casting Portable Hole here is 3 damage plus they block here, then I sack, then they're dead unless they have a Solitude, assuming nothing happens here, although we're pretty likely to find something. And that counts as something. Not the worst draw. Dang, I'm so rarely the one doing Ajani Bombardment stuff. It's pretty nice. Okay, so we're up a game against Orzhov. Don't have a lot for the matchup. I might bring in Blood Moon on the play, but I think I might just run it back on the draw. Did I see the Alchemy card that makes a Mentor every time you cast a non-creature spell? Yeah, that card is so dumb. There's a 4. I don't know what the stats are. Besides, it's a 4-mana creature. I don't know what its power toughness is. But it says every time you cast a non-creature spell, make a Monastery Mentor. Like, that card is crazy. Okay, pretty good at drawing our Sunbaked Canyons. Only playing 3 of them. Yeah, Mill's on the upswing. And Mill's kind of a tough matchup because we're really soft at Tasha's. So it is on the upswing, and I'm interested in being a little bit better against it, yeah. It's a 4-mana 3/3, okay. Am I just faster than Chalice in 1? Well, I just don't think there are enough Chalices for me to be super duper worried about it, but my attitude might be wrong. It's really not that complicated either. Like, if you're really scared of Chalice, play some answers to it. We have a lot of 2s also. Yeah, thinking about not paying for Sentinel, it seems. Maybe not. 3 Sunbaked seems a bit painful. I think it's really okay in your aggro Guide of Souls deck to play 3 Canyons. But, you know, I could be wrong, you know. Like, this is a matchup we don't care about. Our life total going way down. Is the mic still having issues? Test, test, test. Pops the relic, missing their land, finds the land. Only taps for black at the moment. But yeah, I mean, just look at our deck. We're like a pure aggro deck with like a good amount of life gain with Guide and Pride. Like, I feel like we can afford to play 3 Canyons. Like, we're a lot more aggressive than normal Boros is. Probably a little too good to say no to here. I think I'm still going to play the Bombardment, though. What was the last league with Jeskai? It was with Teamer. We went 4-1 into 5-0 with Jeskai, and then played 3 matches of Teamer. We were 1 land top deck away from a pretty good start with Teamer, but I decided to pivot over here, which I think this is just the better shell. Like, both Teamer and this Boros build are exploring this core of like Bauble, Opal, Steelcutter, Amulet, although that build gets Imri and Tamio, which are really good, but this build gets Esper Sentinel, Portable Hole. They exile a card from their graveyard first. Then they're going to play a Wrath Disguise. Yeah, I was kind of feeling like if I kept the Steelcutter, we'd be a bit better against Wrath Disguise here. I'm conflicted about Super Mentor, since on one hand it's sweet to think about playing it. On the other hand, I wish they'd be less aggressive with referencing iconic cards all the time. I mean, for me, like, that card honestly just seems like it's like not a fun cube card because it's so annoyingly powerful. But maybe it's just, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. But to me, like, it just is like just too high power level for cube for me to enjoy it. It's kind of rare for Wrath the Skies to be like 4 mana 2 for 2 in this matchup. A Hardcast of Solitude. So we're not going to get to attack with the other creature if we want to play around Solitude, which I think, of course, we want to here. So we'll go ahead and discharge before this resolves. We gain 1 extra point of life. Although, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have moved the Steelcutter over because now we gain 1 less point of life. It's kind of unlikely that this matters that much. Kind of unlikely it matters much either way. How do you feel about the updated red Belcher list? They're good. They're good. I think Demonic Tutors had the first draft, which was certainly a really rough draft. And then I remember looking at it and like I want to clean it up, and like I wanted to add Ruby Medallion and Metamorphose and Bitter Reunion and Stormscale Scion, or maybe he had Bitter Reunion, I can't remember. Like, but then the list that emerged is built basically exactly how I would want to build it, so I decided not to work on it. Got to it too late. Even the Glimpse, the 3-mana Glimpse, I don't know that I would have found that if I was building it. That card just is like really nice as mana engine / card advantage engine. I almost definitely would not have had that in my first draft. Okay, well, we'll see if our opponent has I'm sorry, we'll play Guide first. Another Orm's Chant or another Solitude. Someone stole my idea. Well, I mean, it was just like, I just wanted to like rebuild Demonic Tutors list, you know. And this is a big part of Magic, is just reiterating on ideas always. Interesting that they let me cast a spell. Maybe their other card is a Wrath the Skies. Also, these Orm's Chants are not looking very good. Obviously, I mean, they're behind, so like don't usually look that good in these kind of spots. So I've gained life from the Solitude. I guess I don't want to offer the trade either, so maybe I shouldn't have moved this over. But I just want to copy the monk with the cat. Your turn. So the last card is a Wrath the Skies. We're still very ahead. But it's just a Boggart Trawler, and we're off to a nice 2-0 here. Beating Prowess and beating Orzhov. Feeling pretty good about this build. It's our 3rd time playing it, and it's gone through a few iterations. It's kind of clearly needed more artifacts, but being able to play Opal in this kind of deck is really, really... Let's keep this. If they play something for me to Portable Hole turn 1, I can go turn 1 Portable Hole plus Guide of Souls. A lot of good top decks, too. We lose Metalcraft, we gotta crack this, although that is not a card I want to see, of course. Take your time. No rush here. Another Bauble's not the best, not the worst. What does this list have over regular Boros energy? Well, Steelcutter, which is one of the best cards in Modern. Mox Opal, which is one of the best cards in Modern. Faster Goldfish on average, which is pretty important in this format. But besides that, not much. So they're making a spawn. I think I'm going to go ahead and Galvanic Discharge. I think I'm also going to play it off the Sunbaked Canyon, so I have the ability to double Canyon next turn, which might be the difference between winning and losing this game. Oh, nice. And they give me the extra energy, which is very kind of them. There's a Myco spawn. They may be missing a land if they're making a spawn, and they may have another Myco spawn in their hand. Obviously, this is a good top deck. They do have the land. And they don't play the Myco spawn. So they must have another command in their hand. Don't hate that this turns on the Opal, but I think we just have too many better top decks. Although it's kind of nice if they like don't K command this turn, they probably will. So they didn't K command in response to the Ajani trigger, which I think was the right time since like I know they have a Myco spawn in their hand and they didn't cast it, so they must have K return or K command, probably K command. But we have the luxury of playing around it a bit. Kill a spawn now, I think. They do keep 2 cards on top here. There it is, Myco spawn, 2 cards they kept on top, and a mystery card. Okay. Don't want to draw a land. Dang it. Fuck. Well, that's probably the game. Just draw like any spell. We're in so much better shape. Maybe not Steelcutter. Fastest Eldrazi player. Yeah, that's true. I guess we had a good amount of air. I do know Crystals has reach. It is definitely weird that it does. Why not play Fetch Land Within? You could do that. Our life total may be in play here with the Chrysalis in play. Okay, well, if my opponent needs the 7th mana to cast one of their 7 drops, they may have punted here. Final record of just got deck 10-2. I think 9-2, counting the match lost off stream, and on stream today it was 6-1, I think. Right, best draw is Unstable Amulet into something. Another Ajani is also a really good draw. Honestly, not a lot else besides that. Okay, moving on. It's like, was that 3 or 4 lands in a row? So I don't think Blood Moon's very good against these builds of Eldrazi. They play a lot of basics, they play a lot of talismans, it's pretty slow. But I do think Cleansing Wildfire is pretty good against them. And especially like when you combine it with the portable holes to like get their mana rocks and get their double lands. And of course, Wildfire is also just a pretty versatile sideboard card with all the Belcher running around. Only drew one Sunbaked Canyon. It is nice that these slow players aren't quite as prominent as they once were. Feels like we're getting like one a day these days, which is really not so bad. I can turn one Wildfire, but I can't do anything with that. I'm just going to put back the Opal here, although keeping it would be better if I find a Steelcutter, I guess. Is Jailer better than Cage in control decks? Well, they just do different things. Like, Jailer is like an anti-Cascade card, anti-Storm card, and Jailer is, and Cage is like anti-Green Sun Zenith, they're both anti-Gorios. All right, let's keep that. Yeah, Cage stops Flage, Jailer doesn't. Despite the text of these cards being definitely similar, like they just do very different things. And they might want to K-Command for 0 and just cycle it. 18 lands, by the way. Another Temple. Another land, basically. I'll play the Sentinel to make a K command a little bit more awkward, where they can't just get my creature with it. Oh, that's true. We can go Mox Pride. Thanks, opponent, for playing slowly enough. Super flooded yet again. Gonna be pretty tough. You do get pretty punished for casting Pride if we draw Guide with Souls and we can't attack with this, although maybe that's kind of a narrow range, because like refilling with Amulets is just pretty important. Another basic is kind of nice to see if we draw more Wildfires. Work with this. Sire's gonna be tough. Sire's gonna be pretty tough. Okay, so I get to go with Ajani, attack with the cat, and if they block it, I get to flip the Ajani, and if they don't block it, I get to make a bunch of tokens. Although I only get to deal 4 damage to the Sire, so I guess it's just not enough. Alright, gonna concede here. Keep the show on the road. Method Magic with the 3 months. Thank you, welcome back. Do I think Supreme Verdict or Wrath Disguise is better positioned right now? Well, Wrath killing Steelcutter does seem to be pretty nice. Like, usually Verdict's only better if Dimir is really, really popular. Okay, so we're on the draw against a Ragavan. 3 Mishra's Baubles. Okay, I do want to keep that portable hole. Just going to go ahead and see what they're drawing here. I really don't think Wildfire is strong enough. Killing 1 or 2 soul lands just doesn't slow them down enough, since they can ramp more with Microspawn and K-Command. Is there any card that's strong enough then against Titan? Because it's Consign is a really good sideboard card against them, but like I agree, Wildfire by itself is not 2 mana win the game, but there certainly isn't any card that's 2 mana win the game. Oh, they find a Steelcutter? Uh-oh. You know, but like if that card's not good enough for you, is there any card that's good enough for you? No, and that's the problem with Eldrazi. Yeah, that's very very valid. So like, well, one thing is, it's like it's not just that. It's like, I mean, I think that you kind of can't deny that Cleansing Wildfire is a good card against Eldrazi. It is good when you target their Utopian Sprawled Land. It is good when you target their Temple. It's good when you target their Labyrinth. This is a good exchange for you, and it's a more minor exchange over the course of a larger game, of course. But it is good for you when you get to do this. Okay, we're back. So it's like being able to main deck this card, to be able to snipe Urza Sagas, and to be better against Titan, and to be better against Eldrazi, and to be better against the Belcher decks. I think all of this is pretty dang relevant right now. Do you think it's reasonable for Eldrazi doing Wildfires? I think Wildfires just are good right now with how popular Belcher is. Are there any decks that could sideboard some Ghost Quarters as 0 mana Eldrazi hate? I mean, you have to have a lot of land synergy to play Ghost Quarter. Oh, sorry. I mean, we're pretty cooked here. Obviously, a really tough matchup to mulligan in general. A good matchup to be testing. But them hitting my Steelcutter there was just very difficult. I think maybe we'll experiment trimming the 4th Mox Opal. It's not something I've done before, but I think it makes some sense. I want to keep the bombardments in. The portable holes are good, but they get a lot worse post-board into the Wrathless Sky, so I think I'm going to trim a couple copies. Do you think March of Otherworldly is main deckable against Sprawl, Steelcutter, Saga, Vigor, Amulet, Guide, Pride Hole? I mean, what I don't like about March is that of these, like, it's good against Saga, and it's pretty good against Amulet, but, like, just in general, like, 2 mana to answer the 1-drop, which is kind of what you're proposing here, just isn't all that good. Yeah, I think Oliphant is kind of interesting in Temur Battlecrier. I think we talked about it the other day. Let's play this Sentinel, maybe set up to Surveil here. Yeah, I could also try to play the like Lotus Field deck again. It's been so long. I actually played a little bit of a Lotus Field brew off stream that was not very good, but I was trying to figure out Breaching Dragonstorm a little bit. Not gonna make the stream. Great. Thank you, Esper Sentinels. They got 1 energy in the pool. It doesn't seem like they're going to Wrath the Skies me anytime soon. I'll definitely get to Surveil through the lag. Ruby Tuesday with the 19. Thank you. Welcome back. Just getting so flooded. I mean, we have 22 mana sources, including the opals. Just our ratio of lands and spells has been so bad, like these last 2 matches. Well, this isn't so bad for me. I also am going to get this Ocelot Pride back next turn, I think. MM with the 8 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Big draw step. The best draw possible. So maybe our bad luck is over. Maybe not. Could maybe be right to plus here. A little bit scared of a Ragavan, although I guess I'm getting this back. But if they have a Flage, it's pretty bad to 0 or a Discharge. Okay, we won. I'm not sure. Would y'all have plus the Ajani there? Maybe that was just right. Now the way my opponent played, they certainly like did not play as if they had Wrath in their hand. I think they're still committing there pretty often. I think I'm gonna bring in one more portable hole, go down to Bauble, click submit. All right, well, the Sanctifier is definitely important to deal with a Flage. Nah, you're not beating Flage there anyways. That's a good point. I think I'm just going to go ahead and discharge this guide. Move might be no flip. That seems wild against the bombardment on their side, right? What's the argument for not flipping? A lot of spells this game. You can flip it well, you miss 1 damage. We also missed the activation, right? Which matters a lot, I think. Like, I think you just really want to activate the Ajani that turn. Doesn't seem like my... Oh, you hear that thunder? Dang. Just thoughts playing around Flage. Yeah, I mean, I think I would just plus if I was going to play around Flage, I think. So they do have a Discharge. I really like them casting Discharge here, though, because it makes it way less likely they're going to Wrath this guys. Although they've discharged Ajani. So I immediately take that back. Will all my permanents be in play? Yes, they will. Okay, so despite like a lot of flood and they had the Wrath they used to draw the land. A lot of flood, a lot of complaining. We're gonna fire off a 4-1 prediction. All right, this hand is good if we draw a land or a Mox Opal, or if they play into my Esper Sentinels. I think I'm just gonna keep. Don't really care about Thoughtseize. Another Boros matchup. Another 2-drop drawn. Well, good news, I've drawn 2 cards off the Esper Sentinels. Bad news, I still haven't drawn a land. Okay, game 2. They heard me complaining about the flood, and they have listened. I'm going to go with the same sideboard plan, just trim 1 each of these for the Sanctifiers. On the play. This hand rules. Is there any weird special sequencing? I think I do just want to play the guide turn 1, especially like if I end up drawing a 0-drop, I want to get the energy off the Steelcutter. Let's play that this turn. Fiscal with the 18, thank you, welcome back. What's the idea behind Sanctifier's pro red good? Well, it gets rid of Flage, which is a very difficult card to deal with. It's just like 2 mana, your Flages are pretty bad. Comes in a few other matchups too. Good against all the Reanimator variants. Good against Dredge. Good against Hollow One. So I think I want to do this so I can get a bunch of extra energy, which is pretty nice with this Unstable Amulet to help me refuel here. I think that makes sense. Okay, that's pretty good. So I block like this, and then they can kill these 2, and then we get to kill the voice still. Instead they do like this and you basically trade. Alright, so dust kind of settled there at 14. Guess we play an amulet here. Obviously would have loved to go Steelcutter into amulet, but we might as well play this out now. Put it down to 11. Ajani's really not so bad for us. Because they can't kill my Sanctifier this turn. They can only kill this, and then we can discharge the Ajani. Yeah, not really that big a deal. Especially with them not having a second spell to play this turn, of course. So, I guess I can't discharge the cat very profitably. Maybe I want to anyways. Like, I get to kill the Ajani. I do miss out on damage, but just like killing the cat is pretty valuable. They also may mess up and think that they can kill my token, and then like the discharge just resolves. I guess that's not that important to play to. Do you think Beza timely reinforcements like creatures a good sideboard control for blue-white daze control? I'm not a big fan of that card. No, I don't think it's awful, but I don't think it's very good either. It's not a card I really have any experience playing with in Modern, for whatever that's worth, but you could probably do better. Gonna kill my token now? They dealt the damage to it, so you'd think they'd sack and kill it. Okay. I can't equip the Steelcutter to the Sanctifier. I guess that is a little bit of a nombo. So I guess we want to go Ajani into discharge our cat token, make a Steelcutter creature, spend 1 energy, flip the Ajani, which gives me 2 energy left to activate the Unstable Amulet. Unfortunately, we find a land, so I can't quite kill my opponent, but I can kill the Ajani and hit them for 4 down to 7. Okay, 4 down to 6, sorry. Didn't graduate college. So they discharge the Ajani. Plays an Ocelot Pride. Then plays a Ragavan. I draw a Mishra's Bauble. I think moving this over here is correct, so they can't kill anything with the 1 power. I guess they can maybe go double block and sack the Ragavan, kill this, go to 1. Yeah, this puts them to 1. This was in the 2. Maybe they wanted Wrath X equals 2. Still going to keep the Discharge. Not going to shuffle it with the Arid Mesa. I see. This reduces my board a lot. Yeah, this was the better block for them for sure. They get another copy of Ocelot Pride. All right, this gets the job done. So going to game 3 on the draw for game 3. Gonna click. Well, I'm not gonna click the mulligan button here. Really nice to just have a nice 7-card Sanctifier hand both games where like we just don't need to be too worried about Flage. Turn 1 Ragavan, probably need to portable hold this. Card on top. Get a Guide of Souls. Unbelievably stormy out there. Power might go out. If it goes out, stream's over. Guide of Souls would be unbelievably good draw, where we could copy all of our prowess tokens. Might actually still be okay to, it might be even right to like just throw away the Pride. Probably would be. Could trade a Sanctifier for Ranger Captain doesn't seem correct. I guess I could move the Steelcutter here too, maybe sometimes. They don't really have a good block against that. Sorry, I guess I was supposed to play this other Steelcutter first with a Prowess trigger and then play Cutter, Pride, second main. So if they have a Galvanic Discharge, we're going to lose this game, probably. Damn it. Could have really used a couple extra monks there, I tell you what. Alright, probably dead. Yeah, about to be a very cool turn. A weird attack with... I either want to flip the Ajani. Seems like I can't let them trigger the Ocelot Pride. Not exactly sure if there's any series of top deck that gets us out of this, but blocking seems like the start. They have blue man on their deck? It's funny. Yeah, I know the blues like the first splash consign. I just think it's funny he played this match and didn't see that till now. So move this here. Attack everything here. They block here. Yeah, it's just not enough. All right. Jeskai list went pretty well today. Obviously, a 3-2 here is not so bad either. Didn't do very well with Teamer, although we were a land top deck away from a pretty good start. I think the Teamer deck's just too high variance. Not sure how I feel about this one. Card quality is really high, but you really have to draw a good ratio of lands and spells, which is true of every deck, but I think you probably feel this a bit more here. Maybe you want the 4th Sunbaked Canyon. I'm not sure what I'm working on tonight. We've got the challenge on Friday, so I think we're just going to take a little bit of a rest and then find something